Selman, and we're here doing one of the topics from the One Sherpa tour. And today we're doing the topic, what makes a good return? And we're here in the backyard of our office in Vermont, and so that's where we're at the start of the tour. So we're going to use this tool called the financial fence. Now, you may not know too much about it. If you don't, you can always go to the website www.thefinancialfence.com, and you can find a bit more about the financial fence tool. But in these little episodes that we're doing together, we're going to use the fence because it's a really neat little tool to help explain things to you and to bring context into the conversations that we're having together. So without further ado, here is the financial fence. I'm just going to draw one here just so you see it. Right, it's a very simple concept, and like all fences, it has two posts, and for the financial fence it has two rails. We're not going to talk about the bottom rail today because we don't need that in the topic we're dealing with, but we're going to deal with the top rail very simply in three parts. So the top is sales, first box. Next box, expenses. And the final box, profit. Now, profit is another term for return. So when you ask the question, what is a good return, you're actually asking, well, what's a good profit? And in determining what a good profit is, you've got to compare it to something. So I'm going to show you today that you can compare it to three different things. So in the post on my fence here, it's made up of three parts: capital, debt, and equity. And for those of you that don't know, the capital has to balance to the debt plus equity. So now there are three measures that we're going to deal with. The first one, sometimes called ROS. This stands for return on sales. And so it's another way of saying, what is the profit compared to the sales? So in our example, we would be dealing with what is the profit compared to the sales. And you might find that that equals, let's say, 10%. You might go, that's a great number, I think I'm getting a good return. Until, of course, you might measure it on a different basis. And that might be, well, I want to measure my return or my profit compared to my capital. And now we're comparing against this figure. And that might be, say, 30%. And then, of course, there is another way of measuring your return, and that is your return on equity. And that might be 50%. So the secret into working out what is a good return is return against what? And by using the financial fence as your context, you can see one way of measuring the return is the profit against the sales, or the profit against the capital, or the profit against the equity. All the time it is still the same return. And so when someone says to you, I'm getting a good return, your first question must be, return on what? And depending on which measure you're using will determine what good looks like. And so that's all I want to talk to you about today on what is a good return. A good return is one that is in context and measured against the right elements. So I look forward to catching up with you again soon. And by the way, we're about to head off on the tour. So through that door there, through that door is the whole of Melbourne. And we're going to go through that door and meet you on the other side, and I'll see you all over Melbourne, and we can do some more information, some more learning together, all around the fence and all around how to be a better business owner. Thanks, and I'll see you soon.